Welcome to the Explainer. We're actually going to skip the usual agenda today because we need to jump straight into this. We are literally watching artificial intelligence break the absolute scale of modern cybersecurity. I mean, we've always known AI could write code, right? But what happens when it gets so unbelievably good at reading it that it uncovers the internet's deepest, darkest secrets way faster than human hands can ever type out a fix? Let's get right into it. Let's start by wrapping our heads around this staggering number, 10,000 plus. That is the amount of higher critical severity vulnerability candidates discovered in just one single month. 1 month. Imagine the collective groan of developers staring down that Jira backlog. And look, these aren't just hiding in obscure, forgotten corners of the web. We're talking about potential flaws across more than 1,000 systemically important open source projects. Just a few years ago, discovering that many critical flaws would have taken massive, highly trained teams of researchers literally years to pull off, not weeks. But here is the really stark, honestly terrifying contrast. Out of those thousands upon thousands of severe threats that were identified, 97. That's it. Only 97 of those vulnerabilities have actually been patched. It is an absolute drop in the ocean compared to the massive tidal wave of vulnerabilities that have just been unearthed. Section 1. The 10,000 flaw bombshell. Let's look at how AI discovers these secrets. So what exactly generated these massive numbers? It actually wasn't an army of human hackers grinding around the clock. It was Anthropic's Project Glasswing. This is their highly restricted cybersecurity initiative. And right at the center of it is the Claude Mythos preview, a frontier AI model that's specifically purpose-built to hunt down flaws in source code. Now, they've kept this tightly restricted to only about 50 vetted cyber defenders, but man, the experts using it, they are completely astounded. The autonomous security platform XBAL calls it a major advance, and Cloudflare even notes that this specific AI excels at turning isolated single vulnerabilities into full end-to-end attack chains. When you actually break down the raw data, the reality really sets in. We start up at the top of the funnel with over 10,000 candidates. From there, 1,726 were validated as true positives. You narrow it down even further, and you get 1,094 confirmed high or critical severity flaws. Yet, only 88 advisories have been issued, which resulted in a mere 97 patches. The gap between those top numbers and that bottom row, that is the real story here. Even when you narrow it down to the absolute most critical flaws, human developers simply cannot keep up with the AI's discovery rate. It is mathematically impossible. Section 2. The unsolvable remediation gap. Basically, why patching just can't keep up. This brings us to a massive industry-wide crisis. The entire software ecosystem is failing to absorb these rapid discoveries. Even Anthropic themselves openly acknowledge this as a major challenge. The ease of finding vulnerabilities right now vastly outpaces the difficulty of fixing them. And the ripple effects, they're already hitting the tech giants hard. Oracle has been forced to drastically accelerate its processes, literally shifting from quarterly patch releases to monthly ones. Microsoft is out there warning that their monthly patches will trend larger for quite some time. Basically, companies are having to rewire how they fundamentally operate just to survive this massive data influx. Section 3. Real-world stakes and wins. Let's talk about risks and defenses. You know, it's pretty easy to get lost in all these abstract statistics, so let's anchor this in a real-world example. Take this specific critical flaw the AI found in Wolf SSL. It carries a near maximum CVSS severity score of 9.1. Because this is a widely used embedded TLS library, the flaw could allow an attacker to forge certificates and totally impersonate legitimate services. And why does this matter so much? Well, because Wolf SSL is deployed across IoT devices, automotive systems, and industrial control environments. We are talking about physical hardware here, folks. A vulnerability here carries consequences far, far beyond your standard web security issues. But look, AI isn't just out there breaking things. It's also acting as a superhuman shield. Picture this live scenario from a Glasswing partner bank. Step 1, an attacker successfully breaches a customer's email. Step 2, they make spoofed phone calls to try and initiate a massive wire transfer. But then, Step 3, Claude Mythos steps in. It instantly identifies the highly complex fraud pattern before the transfer can even execute, which leads to Step 4. A fraudulent $1.5 million wire transfer is stopped dead in its tracks. It's an incredible story, and it brilliantly illustrates how these frontier AI models can provide massive asymmetric advantages to defenders. Section 4, the dual-use AI dilemma, or the coming arms race. Now, while stopping a million-dollar fraud is obviously amazing, there is a much broader arms race happening in the background. We're looking at two parallel initiatives from the absolute biggest players right now. Anthropic has their cyber verification program, which grants vetted pros access to Claude without the usual guardrails for legitimate research. On the flip side, OpenAI introduced Daybreak, providing similar restricted access to a model called GPT 5.5 Cyber. Notice that neither of these models is public. That's because the safeguards to prevent massive automated misuse simply do not exist yet. But as the source material points out, restricting access to a handful of trusted partners isn't a dam that's going to hold forever. And the threat isn't just theoretical anymore. AI isn't purely a defensive shield. It's actively introducing brand new, highly weaponizable attack vectors. Recent disclosures show exactly what this looks like in the wild. For example, Cyra discovered claw chain vulnerabilities, demonstrating how attackers can weaponize an AI agent's own sandbox privileges against it. Or take Koi Security, who audited ClawHub and found 341 malicious entries hidden among just a few thousand available AI agent skills. AI is creating new attack surfaces while simultaneously digging up all our old flaws. It's essentially a massive race to see which side of the equation can move faster. Section 5. The future of AI security. Preparing for the wave. So what on earth do we actually do about this? Well, organizations must prepare right now, because the gap between what a restricted model like Mythos can do and what tomorrow's public-facing AI will do is rapidly closing. Anthropic has issued a very clear, urgent mandate to fortify basic security hygiene. Harden your network configurations immediately. Strictly enforce multi-factor authentication everywhere, no exceptions, and maintain comprehensive logs for rapid detection and response. Honestly, this isn't just best practice anymore. It is basic survival prep for the wave that's coming. There's a quote from the research that I think perfectly captures this double-edged sword. It goes, "The software ecosystem now has a tool that can find flaws faster than developers can fix them." Think about that. 10,000 vulnerability candidates in 1 month from just 50 partners using one single model. It is an absolute triumph of human technology and a terrifying logistical nightmare at the exact same time. Anthropic rightly calls Project Glasswing an asymmetric advantage for defenders, and it clearly is right now. But we really have to remember asymmetric advantages in tech tend to be temporary. The clock is already running. So I want to leave you with this to ponder. When asymmetric advantages are temporary, who ultimately wins the race? Defensive AI is ahead today, for sure, but how long until offensive attackers inevitably catch up? Thank you for joining me for this explainer. Stay secure out there and keep learning.